want to talk to you for just a second. I know some of you may know why I've called you together, some of you may not, so let me just briefly explain this. And I know this is unusual to get all of you guys in the same room at the same time, and I know some of you got personal differences, and I've asked you to put those aside at least for a few minutes until I finish talking, and then I think maybe you might agree with me that we got some business to take care of that may be a little bit more important than our personal differences for the moment. So, first of all, I just want to, I think most of you realize what happened last Saturday. If any of you don't, you know, I went over to the Power Pro Wrestling, basically to explain to all of those people why I wasn't on Power Pro anymore. I think they thought that I was coming back, you know, to be a part of their show again, and a little bit of a misunderstanding ensued. I was trying to explain what I thought was wrong with Power Pro, and of course then the next thing you know, this Brandon Baxter, this Derek King, all of these clowns start coming out there. They get in my face, and basically I wound up in the ring and maybe taken advantage of a little bit, okay? But I gave them fair warning. I told them beforehand that if they tried any of that stuff, that I was going to personally show up today back on their show, and I was going to bring all of my friends with me. All of the guys here, right, that's exactly what I told them. So what we're looking at here, guys, is some of you guys, Mean Street Posse, you know, Joey Abs, Thrasher. Now, you know about Power Pro, but some of these guys are not really familiar with what goes on over there.
I just want first dibs on Randy Hales. That's all I want.
All right.
I want Randy Hales.
Okay.
I'm coming to him.
What about Derek King? He weighs 80 pounds. What? That'll break him in half.
What is he, gain weight or something? I don't know. But let me just say, what the situation is, guys, I told them last week, if they touch me, they better lock the doors today. They touched me, so I'm sure that when we get over there, the doors are going to be locked. We may have to force our way into the TV studio. Once we're inside, this is going to be a little bit of like a SWAT team takeover. So no telling where these guys will be. There'll probably be some of them in the ring, some of them will be in the locker room, some of them will probably be hiding in the newsroom or something. But what I want us to do is I want us to go in there, grab the first one that we see, grab as many of them as we can get our hands on, drag them out in the middle of their own ring, and just show them what we're all about, okay? Is that a deal? What do you guys think?
That sounds great. I just want to beat somebody up, period.
Okay.
Period.
Okay.
I don't care if it's Slash, I don't care if it's Bill Dundee, I don't care if it's some of these guys. It doesn't matter to me.
We're not gonna beat these guys up today. This
Three pounds, what else they got over there? Who you got to get the ring leaders? You want to beat them up?
Okay.
I'm 3/4 hot.
All right, here's the deal.
Channel 5.
Here's the deal. Here's the deal.
All of them.
Okay. Listen, guys. 11 o'clock, their show goes on the air live, okay? What I'm saying is, as soon as we're through here today, at 11 o'clock...
That's not much time.
I know, that's not much time, but as soon as we're done, we jump in our cars, we head right over to 1960 Union Avenue, TV5, and we kick some butt. What do you say?
Yeah.
Right? Okay, guys, it's 11 o'clock.
Talking Memphis Wrestling with Randy Hales and special guests.
Man, the month of July almost over, but man, what do I always say? I say expect the unexpected. And that's never, ever been truer than what we get today. Want to say hello to the YouTube and Facebook and Twitch, everybody that's watching today. My friend, the greatest video producer of all time, Randy West. No offense to you, Adam Dunn. Pat Trammell has no-showed. Might be scared of my guest. Michael St. John had radio station business to do. Want to say hello to everybody, including Troy and everything else. Again, expect the unexpected, and they will, you people and the wrestling world will be shocked at what we are going to announce there'll be wrestling promoters and wrestlers all over the place. They'll be on the phone and they'll be calling my guest and they'll be calling me, and wrestling fans from all over will be saying, how do we get tickets? How do we get tickets? Andrew Calvin Jr., appreciate your watching today. I am so fired up. Now, let me give background information. You saw during the cold open, it was a clip not from my television, not from Jerry Jarrett's television. It was from Terry Golden's television. Terry Golden was the founder and operator of KAW Wrestling. We have a graphic for that, Adam. Kick-ass wrestling called The Outlaws. It was a innovative program, and he will correct me if I say wrong information, but I believe that as Power Pro premiered in 1998, Terry premiered Kick-Ass Wrestling, and it was a great alternative because he didn't go out and try to be what classic Memphis wrestling was, what Power Pro wrestling was. He was the alternative, but in a good way. He was innovative on his production. He was wild and woolly crazy, obviously based somewhat off of ECW, and was very successful KAW. Lawler and I went sideways, obviously, and we've dealt with that on this show. And then at point, as I was a long-time developmental promotion for the WWE, Lawler had left. Lawler went to work for Terry Golden, and he got Terry Golden hooked up with the WWF. They met together in MCW. It aired on Saturday morning right before Power Pro, and eventually everybody made up, or Lawler and I did, and there was 2 developmental companies in Memphis at all time. And we won't lie to you and say there wasn't hardships from time to time. We'll also say Terry Golden and myself never had one argument ever. It was hard, but it was not hard because of Terry, and Terry didn't have it hard because of me. Maybe I had somebody working there for me and made it hard on Terry, and maybe somebody in the WWE office made it hard on both of us. And we'll just shoot straight with everybody and tell you what happened from day one. I'm very pleased. It's Corey Macklin used to say, and I don't even know what in the fuck this meant, but he used to say it's a plum pleasing pleasure to go with power. Well, it's a plum pleasing pleasure. Terry Golden won't know if I just compliment him or cussed him out. He take him a minute to figure that out. But it's an honor. I've talked to Terry since April, almost on an everyday basis. We're excited what we bring to you today. But the first part of this is we want to bring in from Jackson, Tennessee. You will hear, that's where he lives now, Jackson, Tennessee. You will hear Jackson, Tennessee a lot during this show today. We'll bring on to the show for the very first time on Talking Memphis Wrestling, Terry Golden. Hey, big guy.
What's going on, Randy? Hey, I got a question, man. How long have you been doing this podcast?
About 4 years.
It took you 4 years to finally book some good kick-ass entertainment. Congratulations, Randy.
You don't think I had Jerry Lawler and he's not kick-ass, and Jeff Jarrett and he's not. Okay, this way I can start this.
Absolutely. It took 4 years, but you're starting to get right. So let's go.
It's a pleasure we argued a little bit already right now, and we've been talking every day since April. How many arguments have we had in that period of time?
None in person, but like when you hang up, I usually cuss you out a little bit, and I hear you when you hang up with me. So, probably 10, 12 at least.
Now,
not directly. So no, we're good. We've had a great relationship. Everything's been good. I would have never imagined that it would have been so easy. Too bad it wasn't this easy 25 years ago, right?
We'll get into that, but I want to just say that you reached out to me, and I'm not much on Facebook Messenger. Plus, I was going, you didn't know this at the time, I had gone through pretty bad car wreck. I had gone through tumor surgery, and just things were not right in my life, and I wasn't on social media much. And you sent me a Facebook Messenger, and I didn't see it, and you just sent me a thing. So I thought, because to backtrack, when I was staying with Bill Dundee after my time at the circus went away as a marketing director, I was staying with Bill. Bill and I, we used to go from Germantown to Jackson, and Terry used to take us out to eat, and we had great conversations. So we never talked about the past whatsoever in any way. So Terry, since I didn't respond to him, said, I thought we were cool. I said, we are cool. I didn't see that message. I'm sorry. So we talked, and it's been great ever since. What made you reach out to me that very first time?
Man, I'm gonna try to condense this and give you the short version, all right? Because I know
All
we're
right.
gonna get through a lot of stuff tonight. So I've had a bunch of my guys reach out to me over the last year or so and want to do some form of a reunion show, KAW, get the crew back together, whatever. So that's what really initiated this whole deal. So my plan was, we're going to get together. We're going to do a KAW reunion show. Well, that was a great idea till I forgot it's been 25 years, and I don't think anybody wants to go through a table, or some of our guys can't even get to the table. So I'm trying to think of what could we do, man, to get everybody back together, because it's 25 years is a long time, and for anybody to even bring up KAW is a compliment at this this juncture in life. So, I just was thinking, and I said, you know what? Even though we were different companies, we still had friends. Like you had guys on your show like Derek King and other kids that were just they were good friends of ours, and we talked, we were friends, we did things together. It wasn't really like a bunch of animosity. It was just my deal, your deal, and everybody kind of did what they did. So I thought, man, I'm going to reach out to Randy and let's see if we can put something together and get everybody together. So that was the intention, to try to put everybody together, get back together for one last gathering of some sort, do a show, whatever we could do, and just see all of our guys that not necessarily your WWE guys or whatnot, but just the heart and soul of both companies that were the ground and pound, what built those two companies, for lack of better words.
And we went from that first conversation to many conversations and a meeting. I want to right now take a break from that and bring in one of my normal co-hosts. His home is in Alabama. He's a big Georgia Championship Wrestling fan, a big fan of wrestling in Birmingham, Alabama. He's the co-host and a sponsor of this program. Our guest today, as we have a huge announcement a little later on, want to do a very quick welcome from Pat Trammell and let Pat do his first take. And I want to introduce Pat Trammell to Terry Golden of Kick-Ass Wrestling. Pat?
Well, Terry, great to meet you. Randy, good to see you, to see all our pals. Had some technical difficulties earlier, but we have talked a little bit about today's show, and I'm just very, very excited about it. Nice to meet you, Terry. I am very excited about anything that allows our all of us as Memphis wrestling fans to be a part of this and be a part of living history, which I'm not. You guys aren't that old yet, but you've been in the wars and you've been in the arenas, and it's just really exciting and an honor to be with you today.
Thank you, sir. I know you've been looking forward to be part of a great KAW crew. It's always exciting with us.
He's never heard of KAW today. Because he lives in Birmingham, Alabama, Terry.
That's all right. We were there too.
All right. Shane Odom is in the house, and this Wex is in the house, and Izzy High is in the house.
That's my guy.
Only Terry fucking Golden can come up with a name like that for a wrestler.
Hey, if it works, it works, right? I mean,
right.
Who would have ever thought of Weed as a wrestling group? Wrestling Execution Daredevils? I mean, it's unbelievable. Just
right.
The things we pulled off in that time, I would be so scared to try to do it again today.
Oh, for sure. Hey, Chris, and Greg and everybody watching the very special edition of Talking Memphis Wrestling. Pat Trammell, as always, here. Michael may call in. He's driving from Nashville back to Alabama. Certainly, Terry's in Jackson, Tennessee. I'm Jonesboro, Arkansas. We have a ton of people and a ton of first people because this show wouldn't have been worth it if Terry wouldn't have provided us with new listeners, and we have new listeners. Obviously, the person that just said the thing about the weed group, obviously, a normal wrestling fan wouldn't say that. Normal wrestling fans. Terry, let's talk about background. Back in the day, where did you grow up is the first question. Second question is, I'll give you three, so you might want to write notes. Where'd you grow up? What got you involved, interested in professional wrestling, and then how did you get started? Who trained you, and that sort of thing?
So I grew up in Camden, Tennessee, small, like right between Jackson and Nashville, right off the lake, right off the Kentucky Lake there. Grew up there. When I was 12 years old, I got invited to go to a wrestling show in Jackson, Tennessee. Bill Dundee and Steve-O were tag team partners.
So that would have been, let me interrupt you, I'm thinking that would have been from the 82, 83, 84 area, one of those years.
Right in there, because my brother was a senior in high school. It was right in the early 80s, mid 80s, right in that area. Went to Jackson, Tennessee, to the Oman Arena. Had watched wrestling on Channel 5 like all my childhood and everything. So that was my first event, and that was it. It was over after that. And as far as training, man, I was very fortunate to have a good friend of mine that I met in Memphis. Spike Huber, which a lot of people can't say that Spike trained them, but I worked with Spike for about a year or so. And
let's real quick, Terry. For the newer fans out there, maybe watching. Spike Huber was Wilbur Snyder's son-in-law. Is that correct?
No.
Dick the Bruiser.
Dick the Bruiser, son-in-law
of WWA Wrestling, and Wilbur Snyder and Dick the Bruiser ran that territory. But Spike Huber had come in here several different times. He was a gym rat, and once his wrestling career, I don't know if it was over with then, but I just wanted to clarify who Spike Huber was.
Yeah, I don't know how old Spike is, but I mean, he's getting on up there. But Spike still looks phenomenal and is still a gym rat in Memphis. So he's doing good. I talked to him not too long ago. Spike's still doing great.
So he trained you, correct?
Yes, sir.
Talk about the first bookings.
Our first bookings were all up in his area, up in Indiana, all those areas that he worked and stuff. We went up there. I mean, talk about intimidation. The first show I was on, I'm sitting in the locker room with Terry Funk, Greg the Hammer, just an array of Cowboy Bob back in that day. And it's like, just floored by the people that are there. So it was interesting. I'll say that. It was very knowledgeable, very intimidating, but it was an experience. I'll say that.
That's great, and I didn't know that. That's so interesting. This is Talking Memphis Wrestling. Pat Trammell's here with me. Adam Dunn is producing. Our guest from KAW, Kick-Ass Wrestling, The Outlaws, and MCW, Terry Golden's here. In about 15 or 20 minutes, we're teasing it. In the wrestling business and the TV business, a tease. We're hyping a huge, huge announcement that will blow everybody's sock off. And Greg Wayne is in the house. Hello, Greg. We have Panetta. I think she's here from Thailand. We encourage people when we make the announcement, a lot of people to come to West Tennessee in September. Pat, you heard the background information from Terry Golden, so any questions or any conversations you might have to Terry right now?
Well, it's interesting, Terry, that your first match was with Steve-O, because the first match, the first time they had live wrestling at my high school, Steve-O was on the card and was tag teaming with Ted DiBiase.
Wow.
Yeah. Georgia Championship did a show in Talladega, Alabama, in about 1979.
Time flies, doesn't it? Again, I mean, I can't, Randy. I mean, it's amazing that it's been 25 years. Seems like it was last week sometimes. Then it seems like it was 100 years in some ways. But I do want to clarify one thing.
Okay.
45 years.
I mispronounced earlier.
Okay.
Weed is the correct pronunciation of weed is Wrestling Extreme Execution daredevils.
Okay.
How you like that, Randy? Could you have ever come up with that?
Okay, and we see already somebody this week. Who is this week, Terry?
This what?
This Vex.
I have no idea.
Well, he just wrote in a comment on YouTube that said exactly what you just said. That's Izzy.
That's
Izzy.
Okay, good deal.
I
And that was the
appreciate
leader
Izzy.
of it. That was the leader, so he's good.
All right, so he's got it for sure. This is a unique Talking Memphis Wrestling. One more question, Pat.
I'm good. I'm good right now.
Okay, let's go to the fact Terry started his wrestling career, trained by Spike Huber. Again, Adam, if you can find a picture of Spike Huber, that'd be great if we could insert that somewhere during the show today, as I love Spike. Spike was just a great, great, great wrestler. There's no doubt about it. How did it go from Terry Golden, who started in Indiana and in all those towns? Also, you worked for and was on top, main event type of guy for Burt Prentice, and did some great stuff. And that's when I first started hearing of you in Nashville, Tennessee for Music City Wrestling. So talk about the Music City Wrestling days, and then obviously we had a meeting together in the early days of Power Pro,
Yeah.
and I was so impressed and had big plans, but young and dumb, and I let outside influence. Honestly, I let from Terry at that point, who had, as we all did, a love-hate relationship with Bert, and for some reason Terry wasn't wrestling for Bert, so Bert would make phone calls to certain people. And how does, look at the screen, how does Spike look now compared to this fucking
My God, he probably looks better now.
Oh no, impossible.
It really is. I mean, there's some pretty, he did a lot of bodybuilding after he got out of the business. And I mean, Spike's phenomenal. I mean, he's a true athlete. He's a true athlete.
I mean, that looks just great. So sorry to keep interrupting live shows. We get all kinds of people, and we'll ask Donald's question right now. Put that on the screen, Donald's question, Adam, so Terry can see that question, because obviously not able to answer the question. So read the question, Terry, from Donald on YouTube, and then give us an answer.
Who were some of the players in KAW? Man, I mean, it's really kind of a who's who of who's been through Memphis. When we first started, like I believe on our first show, we had Doug Gilbert, we had Dutch Mantell was there. But I mean, our core group of guys, once we really got clicking, our core group of guys was the group Weed, the Littles. We had a group called the Littles. You had Motley Cruz, who's like a ring general in a lot of ways. I mean, a phenomenal guy, phenomenal talent, phenomenal worker. Young guys like Chris Rocker, Izzy High. Man, there's just so many names, so many guys. Todd Morton, Bull Payne. There's just so many guys that came through there that did a lot of stuff. I mean, then by the end, I mean, anybody that we wanted, we had a choice of. We had Brick House, we had the Dundee, we had Lawler. I mean, not Lawler, but we had Bill Dundee, Jamie Dundee, just about everybody and anybody who'd been through Memphis ended up working for us in KAW. It was pretty exciting.
Donald, we appreciate that. Also, Shane has a question to Terry. If you could put that on for us as we're rolling video, and certainly that is interesting. Some great, exciting stuff right there. Shane wants to know who your favorite wrestler was growing up.
Man, I'm not going to go with growing up because that's a different answer. I'm going to go with overall, like from childhood to this day. And not really only, this is the God's honest truth. I'm a Bill Dundee guy. And Randy Hales is a Jerry Lawler guy. So I'm telling you, Bill is my guy. Bill is my friend. Man, I mean, he's just phenomenal. We've been friends for 30 years. seems like, and it's just, I love Bill. He holds a special place in my heart.
Talk about, as we see this video, talk about the formation, as I've already talked about our meeting, and you thought the hell with him, said if he's not going to put me on TV, I'll get my own TV. Talk about that and talk about the video. If we keep that running and make sure we have video to back that up, as Terry, you see the screen video rolling. How did Kick-Ass Wrestling come about?
Well, so I'd worked a lot for Bird. I'd worked for Bird up in when he did the Ozark Mountain stuff, and then he transitioned to Nashville and did Music City. So I worked both those territories for him quite a bit. Worked some in Deep South down there for Greg
Cody Hamilton.
Hamilton, yes.
The Assassin.
Yep. So I was doing that, and then I ended up getting a meeting with this young promoter named Randy Hales. And I went and talked with Randy Hales about going to work for his company. And I thought we had a great conversation. Everything was wonderful. Everything, we clicked really good. We had a good talk. I left there thinking that that it was good. I mean, I thought that I was going to get a start date. And I never heard back. So the only thing I can see or can think of is like Randy shit the bed. He missed it. So, and that's pretty much what happened, right, Randy?
Yes, absolutely. I agree with that because I would have had a lot less competition and headaches and having to use talent. Absolutely.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I am extremely competitive. Like, I mean, I don't care if we're throwing a Coke can in a garbage can. I want to win. So, it took me a little time to figure out what we was going to do. And, a buddy of mine who is still in Memphis, his name's Ron Guidry. He works for Channel 3. He's always been into television productions and stuff. He comes to me and says, you know what, why don't you just do your own show? Or why don't we just do a show and let's just have some fun and see how it falls out. So he was working for a production company at the time. And we said, okay, let's do it. So we put together a show. We booked the show. We got everything together. And we booked it at the New Daisy Theater, which was right smack on the middle or right down there on Bill Street. And we knew that there was no way, okay, this is being honest, there's no way that we could compete with Jerry and Bill and all those guys, just, grabbing headlocks and doing hip tosses and just wrestling. So we said we got to do something a little edgier. That wasn't really a big YouTube time yet. It wasn't really a big internet deal yet. But there was underground, you could get tapes, VCR tapes, whatever. So ECW had really just a little bit came into our market. Like every once in a while you could get some footage of it. So we kind of went off that layout, and that's what we did. I don't know how we did it, but we worked out a great deal with a couple of strip clubs there in town. They sent ladies down for our shows. And look, we took the best talent that you could actually find. And I don't mean just wrestling guys. I mean like guys that are truly like journeymen in the business, like Chris Rocker now, still works today. Motley Cruz, Bull Payne, Todd Morton, just an assortment of young guys that were hungry and wanted a chance, wanted to break. And we put a core group of guys together, man, that really just busted their ass to do whatever we could do. And I mean, we did some crazy stuff, and we did some crazy stuff. We got it put on cable access. Like, I'm talking like maybe, I don't know, not many at all, but I mean, it was like small TV market, and we killed it. We started getting so much influx of response to our show. We sold the Daisy out. Every time we went to the Daisy, we sold it out. And it just grew from there. I mean, it just kept growing and kept growing and kept growing. And I'll be honest with you, if I had to go back and say the biggest mistake I made in my wrestling business side, I wish I would have never transitioned from KAW to MCW. I wish that I would have passed on the developmental deal and stayed with KAW. That's true heart.
I can understand that for sure. Pat, before we make our big announcement, and we will in about 5 minutes, do you have any questions about KAW wrestling that Terry Golden got going?
Well, yeah, it's a fascinating story, Terry, but it's interesting when you talk about your own show versus the developmental deal, because I think the rank and file street corner wrestling fan like myself thinks the developmental deal is, the holy grail. What did that take away from you?
Well, let me tell you a quick story about a developmental deal that was pitched to me in the beginning. So Jim Ross came down, we met at Lawler's house, and we talked about doing the developmental deal. So the initial plan was this, and I don't know that many people know this because I've only told this story one time. The initial deal was going to be, because Jimmy Cornette had Louisville, right? So
Yeah.
he had his developmental deal there.
Yes, and I had.
And Randy had the Memphis area, and then when they were going to give us the developmental deal,
Right.
because of obviously Jerry's influence. They say that there's a saying that the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. Well, Jerry's the king of Memphis, and he's looked at as a god. Unfortunately, the king giveth and the king taketh away also. But ultimately, in that meeting, Bert Prentice was involved also.
I didn't know that myself.
So Bert was going to have Nashville. All three areas were going to be the developmental program for New York. And hopefully at that point, all three areas would have worked together with television, bookings. Ultimately, we would have recreated the old Memphis loop. And I accepted the deal, and Bert backed out and took the WCW deal. So that kind of killed the middle loop there. So we were on our island by ourselves, and Cornette was up there by himself. So that's kind of how that deal transitioned out. Now, as far as the question you said, what was the difference? Just the utter BS, the red
And control.
the drama. Now, I wouldn't really say the control, because I had ultimate control of my show and everything we did on it, and every way we changed characters or did anything. But the outside influence for creating drama that came in the back door was the problem. It's just the micromanagement of people who wanted to be in charge that couldn't be in charge.
Can I ask something
You can
of
ask
both of
me
you?
anything.
Well,
Yeah.
both of you, because you both dealt with that, and I've been kind of fascinated by it, because I have sensed from Randy when he's talked about it. If you're running your promotion, you're trying to get people over to get people in the stands, and you've got your storylines, and you're making a heel to this level or this level, and a heel because of this or a heel because of that, and you've got your own character development. And then they send you a guy and say, get this guy over and do this. And I'm asking. And that puts a turd in the middle of your punch bowl that you have to deal with versus trying to run your own territory. Is that halfway accurate?
Let me answer that quick. The person that, I don't know if Terry went nuts. I never went nuts like that. Jim Cornette threatened to kill people over it because he had Nick Dinsmore as a serious wrestler. They took him up there and made him a lot of money, but turned him into Eugene. I don't know if Terry ever threatened to kill the WWE people. I know I didn't. I will just say real quick that my favorite times in Power Pro Wrestling was the first, and our best ratings by far was in the first year, and that's before we had WWE talent. Still, through the first run, all had gone gone well. The second run, we had too many people, and I was flat out told, and even Lawler told me, and with Jim Ross in the meeting and all that, said the people that had stayed with me when I didn't have developmental, like Alan Steele, who's watching the program today, and like Bulldog Reigns, and like Blade, and like Derek King, they wanted me to fire all of them, and I just didn't. I wouldn't go away from my core. So that's the experience I have, and I'm sure Terry will explain his deal. As he's already said, he wishes he can go back to KAW, and I wish I could go back to the original Power Pro and the fun we had and the business we had, a $50,000 house at the Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis, and the only primetime Channel 5 television show and Rumble on the River. We did great stuff, and it just wasn't as fun to me, Terry.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, funny story is one day I got a call. It was the Germantown Hotel. I can't remember the name of it. This was as they were just beginning to develop Germantown Road, and it was the manager, and he says to me, he says, Terry, I got a question for you. And I'm like, okay. He says, my name's so-and-so. I'm with the Germantown, Hyatt, whatever hotel it was. He says, do you own a Jim Neidhart? And I'm like, excuse me? He says, well, Jim Neidhart says I need to call you. I'm like, okay, yeah, Jim's down here working with us. He says, I need you to come talk to him because he's out here on Germantown Road hitting golf balls across Germantown Park.
Oh my goodness.
But like, let me ask you all, anybody that's on the show, what do you do to redevelop Jim Neidhart?
It's crazy.
I mean, he was 45.
Now, was he supposed to be a trainer, Terry?
Great guy.
Was he supposed to be a trainer?
Yeah, but Jim Neidhart didn't want to train nobody.
But that's why he was sitting down there. That's why he was set down there, right?
Correct. But so here's another thing. I don't want to mention any names, but they sent some guys to Memphis. At the end there, they were sending guys to Memphis to get rid of them because they didn't want to fire them, because they didn't want to get rid of them and tell them, and they wanted to keep them on the roster and not go anywhere else. But that's the only thing I can see. Right. Another good story I'll tell you real quick is K Crush, Ron Killian's, still in WWE.
And you still talk to?
Yeah, I talked to him a couple of weeks ago, actually. He contacted me one day and said, look, I want you to know I love you. You've been great to me, but I'm leaving. I'm like, what do you mean you're leaving? He says, my contract runs out this week, and I'm going to be on WCW next Monday. He said he's already talked to Eric Bischoff. They've offered him a deal. As soon as his deal runs out, he's going to WCW. I said, have you even talked to the office? And he says, no, nobody's called me. Nobody's nothing. So I called Bruce Pritchard, talked to him about it, said, look, I don't know if y'all know this or not, but Ron's contract's coming up, and you guys haven't even reached out to him. Do y'all have plans on keeping him? Because that's exactly what you were talking about, Pat. He was our champion at the time. So we were like, we didn't have a taping coming up. So we're like in that position, your worst case scenario. So they missed it. They didn't know that his contract was about to run out. So they called him, gave him a raise, renewed his contract. And the bad thing about it was about 30 days, maybe less later, is when Shane walked out and bought WCW.
And there you go.
So what would have happened to Ron if he went to WCW 20-something years ago now and burnt that bridge 4 weeks before they took that deal over? It would have been a disaster probably for him.
He would have been out of the wrestling business.
Yeah.
Out of the wrestling business.
Stuff like that, I mean, is great, but I mean, it was so politically driven there at the end. Look, to be honest with you, Randy, you and I have never ever had a crossword, but we were at that when they brought you back in, and when I had the deal and they brought you back in, both of us were set up to fail. There was no way for that to work,
right? Especially
when they played you against me and me against you,
right?
And didn't want it to work.
Right.
So, it is what it is. Like we've both said to each other, if we knew now what we knew then, we'd have done a lot of things different.
Oh,
like we didn't really get to communicate a lot back then because it really wasn't cohesive to work together. So it was
you know, as a fan, which I am first and foremost, I am really and a amateur historian of wrestling. I like doing the show because I think preserving the history of Memphis wrestling is extremely important. And the more I can get Randy talking, and the more I can get Michael St. John talking, and the more we can have our guests talking and all that, that passes along the legacy here. And the two of you being here is very, very special for me to hear you just talk together about those days.
Oh,
Pat
absolutely.
Trammell is with us. Terry Golden with us here on Talking Memphis Wrestling. And for right now, we're going to transition to the big announcement. If right now we could go to me full screen. They'll go away for just a minute. Randy Hales talking Memphis Wrestling, and old sayings don't get to be old sayings unless it's true. If you ever heard, and I will put it in wrestling business lingo, they used to say the wrestling dirt sheets, the wrestling observers, the torches, all those people used to say Jim Cornette will show up in WWF when hell freezes over. Well, hell froze over because Jim Cornette started for the WWF. People used to say, and this was more shocking than Jim Cornette, if Jerry Lawler would end up in the WWF, hell would freeze over. Well, hell did not freeze over. Back in 99, 2000, 2001, if you'd have said that KAW, MCW, Power Pro Wrestling, Terry Golden, Randy Hales would work together 25 years later, that wouldn't happen until hell froze over. I am glad, as Terry discussed, it started with a simple phone call about a simple reunion, and the reunion turned out to be PPW and KW, and we talked and we added more to it. And now it's with our pleasure, we go RH poster number 1 and put that poster up on the screen as we're waiting for that poster to be put up on the screen. And we might have lost Adam, and I can do that, yes, as we need to go with that. And there you go. I am thrilled to death that Terry Golden and I will present a night to remember, celebrating classic Memphis wrestling. It will take place in the place where Terry Golden lives now, and that's Jackson, Tennessee. It will be on Saturday, September the 21st in Jackson, Tennessee, as we will have the Memphis Wrestling 2024 version of the Memphis Hall of Fame. And we will also, I'm thrilled to announce, that will be hosted by the son of Lance Russell, Shane Russell, and Double B, Brandon Baxter. And that will be just a tremendous Hall of Fame ceremony, and we will get to that later on. September 21st at the Picture Perfect Event Center, there will be a great meet and greet. A lot of surprises for you, lot of great names, just a lot of great names. And for the Hall of Fame, and I'm going to hold one guy that I haven't talked to about to later on in the show. That's another tease. But the Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame ceremony, the final guy of the night, and this is not completed. We're still working on it for sure. You can check out MemphisWrestlingHallOfFame.com to see everybody that's been inducted to this point. It all started March the 7th of 1994. The lead guy, handsome Jimmy Valiant. Very deserving, former WWE champion and superstar tag team. Part of Men on the Mission, Sir Moe. A tag team that kick-started my booking success in Memphis. Sir Whoopi D, Jamie Dundee, JC Ice, PG-13. A USWA star, a Power Pro Wrestling original, the Spellbinder, Harry Del Rio. Started in Memphis, younger in the career. Became a tag team in Memphis in 1983. Rick Morton, Robert Gibson, the Rock and Roll Express. Also, just added yesterday. I got dirty for this one, Terry. I don't know if I mentioned it to you. Got dirty with this one. I went up to East Tennessee, made the phone call. We will induct into the Hall of Fame Tony Anthony, the Dirty White Boy. I'm very excited about that. In the announcer wing of the Hall of Fame, we have Michael St. John. Due to the fact he said on his podcast, certainly that he's booked that particular day, but we have a video induction of Double J, Jeff Jarrett. Dutch Mantel wants to come. Health-wise, it just depends. Right now, it's looking real good. Also, two of the people so important to Memphis Wrestling was Jerry Jarrett and Eddie Marlin, and we will have that induction as well. See a lot of other talent added almost hourly. Tommy Rich and Doug Gilbert will be there. Downtown Bruno will be there. Carl Fergie will be there. We both have plenty of names, and even one guy that Terry is going to try to call could be our headliner without a doubt. It is a tremendous event. We will also have somewhere, if we can work out logistics, for the wrestling fans to be a part of a Q&A session with the legends. I'm so excited about that. It depends on logistics and that sort of thing. Thinking being able to ask, maybe Terry and I can do it together and we can deep dive into that area. Maybe we have Jimmy Valiant talking about his debut of Memphis Wrestling at late 77. There's just so many people. Doug Gilbert, PG-13. That just gives the wrestling fans a chance to ask a question to these great wrestlers. There's people like PJ, she's over the pond in Thailand. Man, PJ, I think that is worth the fact that you getting on a plane and you come to Jackson, Tennessee for Night to Remember. And the other idea is we'll give Terry the chance to respond to the Hall of Fame in just a few minutes. But Terry, let's get Terry on the screen and lose that graphic. One of the things, specific things you said to me, you talked about the Power Pro and KAW reunion. That's the first thing you said. Right behind it, there was one other thing you wanted to do. Do you remember what that was that you said?
Remind me. There's been a lot.
It might have been the first thing you said to me when we first talked, and we talked about the glory days and the history and both of our childhood, and both of us going through this, and both of us getting hooked in the business. You've already said that Bill Dundee was your favorite person in the world. I didn't say it. You said it for me. Jerry Lawler, I'm a Jerry Lawler guy. Absolutely no doubt about it. What you said, we need to have Lawler and Dundee walk that walk. walk there one more time. Since then, we evolved it. We into what I think will be the most heartwarming event of the night. Adam, if we can go to that second video right now. This was initiated from that Terry Golden conversation to me. We are going to have a presentation and have a lot of people, including Terry and me and Handsome and Doug and Tommy and people that's been involved in their career. And we have major presentations to them. The segment is called Jerry the King Lawler versus Superstar Bill Dundee. Obviously, this won't be a match, folks. This will be in honor of the thousands of matches they've had. This segment will be called A Rivalry Through the Years. It will happen September the 21st, night to remember, at the Picture Perfect Event Center. Information on this show and Terry's social, my social, in local advertising all over, how to get tickets. We are shooting for in August, and we realize August is coming quick, but I am so fired up. I'm probably driving Terry crazy, the millions of phone calls and millions of texts, just fired up as we go back with Terry on the screen. So Terry, add to anything that I might have left out. This is Talking Memphis Wrestling with a major ass, kick-ass effing announcement, a night to remember in Jackson, Tennessee. Terry, go.
The only thing I can add is that you left out the whole KAW crew. What's up with that? I mean, ultimately, look, there's going to be over 50 superstars there. Everybody who worked in KAW, some of the MCW guys, all of these guys are going to be there. Everybody and anybody that we can get to be there is going to be there. There's many, many more guys going to be coming. Reggie B. Fine's going to be in the house. Always fun to be around Reggie, whether you're a wrestling fan or just like to be entertained. Reggie's amazing. But yes, I mean, like I told you, when we first had this conversation, my main thing was I just wanted to get together with the guys that helped build those two companies from the ground root guys and get some appreciation and a thank you for busting their tails. The Derek Kings, the Bulldogs that you talked about, just everybody, the Bull Paynes for me, the Todd Mortons for me, the Rockers, the Weed, the Littles, Hollywood, all these guys who really just killed themselves. And, and the sad thing is about it, a lot of these guys are still paying for it today.
Oh, absolutely.
This is not an easy business.
It's not a ballet, man.
Everybody can't do it. We really wanted to do something and get these legends to come in and work with young talent. It's just hard to work with the young guys that are promoting nowadays.
Right.
I will say, I'm going to give him a plug. Johnny Dotson got to start in KAW, one of his first places. He'll be there also that night and doing his best to run a good show down in Memphis. But yeah, I mean, there's so many people that's contacted us and want to come to this deal that's going to be there. Don't take this first poster for granted. That's what I want.
Oh, no.
Don't think that that's the highlight, because there's so much more to come, so much more exciting. We've got so many sponsors that want to be involved in this deal. This thing's going to sell out. I know everybody wants to talk Burt Prentice tonight. Love him, miss him, gotta miss him. But this is going to be a huge event. It's anybody you want to ask, you can ask this about me. We put on a big show, a big event in your hometown, Jonesboro, Arkansas, $86,000 at the arena over there. I know how to put on a show. We're going to do this thing's going to be 10 stars. If you're not there, you're going to miss out. Also, the thing that we did talk about with Bill and Jerry. If you've ever watched Memphis wrestling, or if you've been a wrestling fan in any degree and you lived anywhere within this radius, if you're not a fan of Bill and Jerry, then you're not a fan of wrestling. There's nobody talent-wise that those two guys have not influenced on any level, even that are coming up nowadays. Those two men deserve the respect and deserve the praise that they get, and they deserve it one last time. I don't want to sound morbid or anything, but every dance comes to an end. This is
Absolutely.
probably going to be the last opportunity those two guys are going to be in a ring together, or in a building together. And we want to honor them. I want to honor them one last time, a correct way, the greatest way we can, and really, really, really make it stand out.
No doubt about it. And Terry mentioned the great people from Kick-Ass, 4Power Pro. I'll be there. So will people that has wrestled for both of us. Certainly, I'll be there. Brandon Baxter will be there. Jerry Lawler, Bill Dundee, Tommy Rich, Doug Gilbert will be there. We have the Spellbinder, who will be inducted in the Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame. Wolfie D, Derek King, Alan Steele, Blade, Bo James, who's watching this program today. Tony Williams, Kid Wicked. Hopefully we can have Lance Jade, Bulldog Wayne, CB Wyatt, and we're looking for Ali. We are putting this together, certainly, and while I take a breath and Terry takes a breath, if Pat is still on, Pat, do you have any questions from this big announcement, and do you agree to be a part of the induction of Michael St. John?
I would absolutely be more than honored to one, be there, and two, to be anything to do with that. Terry, tell us a little bit about the venue.
I'm sorry?
The venue.
The venue is it's called Picture Perfect. It's in Jackson, Tennessee. It's right off of Highland Avenue, right off of exit 82. If you're familiar with Highland Avenue, there's Dairy Queen and a Waffle House there. It's right at the top of the hill there. It's going to be about I'm going to guess 750 to 1,000 seat arena.
All right.
Depending on how we set it up. And it's going to be electric. I mean, we've got production wise, it's going to be all kinds, every lighting show you can think of. We're going to have Trons, screens. It's going to be cool. It's going to be real nice. It's going to be really nice.
Well,
Go ahead.
I'm more than excited to be there, and I know we're going to have a huge crowd. And you're right. I mean, these guys, you guys got to live it, but you and these guys are our heroes, and to pay honor to them, and just to be around them, and to have an evening like this is just something that you don't, we're just not going to be able to do that very much longer, with the they'll be walking with the real heroes before long.
Yeah.
So thank you all for putting that together.
Hey, one thing that Terry, I kill the people with this story. What put me in the book, idea-wise and promoter-wise, that sort of thing, was an event in Memphis where I brought back Lance Russell on March the 7th, 1994. Jimmy Hart helped me out by writing the song, and we did a great deal. And Terry, I don't know if you've seen this video, but we're going to take a break from Pat and myself and Terry talking to you, and we're going, because we got a ton of new people watching on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and all the social media that we have. Right now, we want to go back to March of 1994, and our microphones will be open for this. And Terry, you can tell us if you have heard as we play Monday Night Memories.
Found a program stuck back in my drawer. It was faded, it was torn. I couldn't wait till I looked inside. Some are gone, some are still alive. I watched them every Saturday on TV. I couldn't wait till they climbed in the ring. Monday night memories are all I have to remind me of you. Jerry Lawler, he's the king. superstar Dundee. Handsome Jimmy, he's so cool. Jimmy Hart acted like a silly fool. I watched them every Saturday on TV. I couldn't wait till they climbed in the ring. Monday night memories.
Are you crying yet, Terry?
Not quite yet. Great memories, though.
Jackie Fargo said,
Put up your dukes. The girls thought the fabulous ones were cute. By God, Terry.
Yeah, they had a lot of hair then, too.
The Gilberts and the Funks, I thought they were so mean. I watched them every Saturday on TV. I couldn't wait till they climbed in the ring.
Rick Casey, Wendell Cooley is watching the stream tonight. Wendell, we would love for you to be a part of this event, Night to Remember in Jackson, Tennessee on September the 21st. Bring your gimmicks, man.
Jerry Jarrett told Joe Yamamoto when he died, it hurt me so. Eddie Marlin, Buddy Wayne, Guy Coffey, hope they never change. Lance Russell, they call Banana Nose. Dave Brown was his sidekick, everybody knows. Monday night memories are all I have to remind me of you. Monday night memories are all I have to remind me of you.
Let me answer this question from Frankie, asking if we've ever considered putting Andy Kaufman in the Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame. He is in the Hall of Fame. You can go to MemphisWrestlingHallOfFame.com. Now, let me explain this because people get fired up about the Hall of Fame, and it is what it is. What we try to do is to work the logistics, and Terry and I talked about this. There's people get mad at people for people that's not in. That don't mean we hadn't tried. There's somebody, Terry, I told you, that I invited to be a part of it, and it was a major name, absolute major name, and they just wrote back and said, no, thank you. What do you do? Now, we'll go to Terry first. Terry, what did you think about that video? Did you ever see it before? And this kind of sum up this part of the discussion.
Yeah, I have seen it before. It's
Randy West put that together, and he's watching the show tonight.
Right. I have seen the video before in the past. It's an amazing video. It touches at your heartstrings. It really brings back your childhood. It's just, everybody says back in the day, but I mean, that was back in the day for us. I mean, of course, they don't play football in leather helmets anymore. And, the business has obviously changed and evolved. But I mean, that was the greatest times of a lot of people's life when it was much. Don't you wish we could go back and things be a lot less simpler, a lot less, judgmental as things are today? I mean, even you and me sitting here, there's so many people that are just kind of probably fired up right now that I'm even on this show. But I mean, you got to deal with that. I don't really have to deal with it, Randy. You have to deal with that. They're going to call you. They're not going to call me because they know what I'm going to say to them. But I mean, for me, just to be on this show after 25 years and really never had a cross word with each other is groundbreaking. To do this event together is groundbreaking. And I want to answer a couple questions, if you don't mind. I would like Dotson ask about matches. We're working on that. We're going to see how that works out. Very possible. And I also want to mention that I want to thank Tennessee Championship Wrestling here in Jackson and Casey Gold because they're helping us make this all happen. It's their venue and that we're using, and those guys are going to be involved also somehow. We'll make them very happy also. So, but yeah, Randy, I mean, that video is heartstrings. I mean, very, very tight.
Let's go to me full screen right now because it is my freaking show. And nobody knew I was going to do this because I think for the last hour plus, you see the passion, watching the show every week, the passion I have of the wrestling business. And I can tell you right now, there is one person, absolutely there is, and Randy West will get hot when I say this, and a lot of people has said this. A lot of people even has said it's happened when it hadn't happened, knocked me because it happened, and other people knocked me because it hadn't happened. That's a part of any Hall of Fame, whether it's football or baseball, or it doesn't matter. It's certainly a Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame. People are going to get their panties in the wad, and that's just what it is. But I think you realize by the passion that you've heard on this program today, and that he's devoted his life, and he has spent since 2001. He is a fantastic father. By the way, Terry Golden, did you know that I've talked to your sons?
No, not at all.
Did you know they were booked on this show?
They're not wrestling, I promise you that.
Well, up to you said it a few minutes ago, I didn't think there was going to be any wrestling, so that's a curveball to me, big time. Anyway, no, they have a duty to do. But anyway, I want to compliment you. You've had several businesses. I don't know if you want to plug it or not, but I could. But you have a very successful multi businesses in West Tennessee, and you're great. But more important than that is you've been married to the same woman for a long time, and she must be a saint if she's put up with your ass for as long as she has. Two great sons that were great athletes, without a doubt. You want to know what their job is going to be on September the 21st?
I'm scared to even ask.
They are going to, if you accept the invitation, they are going to accept you. They are going to do the induction for Terry Golden Story into the Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame for his work as a wrestler, for his developmental work as a talent, developing talent, and giving people an alternative product that helped Memphis Wrestling. Terry Golden, accept my invitation to be in the Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame.
Absolutely. Wow. So, yeah, that's kind of a shocking.
We said we would share everything with each other, but I wasn't going to share that with you.
Yeah, I had no idea you talked to my kids. Actually, before I come on here, I told them I had to do a podcast, and they act like I didn't have a clue what I was talking about. So that's awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Absolutely. I accept, but I got to do it on one condition.
Okay.
My guys at KAW, we're a team. You get one of us, I'm coming for all of them. So I'm coming in representing every one of them because that's my heart.
Yeah.
But absolutely, man. Yeah. Thank you very much. I deeply appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. As we had breaking news, real breaking news. Pat, your discussion from the video, obviously you've seen a million times, to this last segment with Terry we just did.
I just, for somebody that is just a fan. I mean, it means so much to me to see everybody involved in Memphis wrestling with different promotions and everything else that had been a part of the story to come together in a special night like this. And I hope I hope we do this every year, but the opportunity to be there one time while everybody's together. And Terry, I look forward to meeting all your guys, and I'm going to get on YouTube and I'm going to find some KAW wrestling. And I am really, really excited about, really excited about learning more about, the history and having everybody there together. And I mean, it's just going to be a fantastic reunion.
Thank you. Thank you. Hey, Pat, I promise you, I got a KAW shirt for you. You're going to rock that bad boy. You're going to look right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Look forward to it.
And then at the end of the night, the whole Power Pro crew will kick the shit out of Pat Trammell. Y'all come out, you guys will come out to make the save, and we'll run with the Jackson Brawl. How about that?
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Hold on. I just got reminded of something. I just seen his name pop up on the screen. We had a beer drinking referee named Alcoholic. Come on, Randy. How did you never come up with anything good like that?
On Channel 5, are you ribbing me?
It's all about the ratings. We did it on 30.
Some things you can do on direct cable.
Yeah, but we were on Channel 30 at the same time, so hey, we're talking different times. Hey,
yeah, like Adam says, not with Dave there, we could.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm caught by surprise by this, but man, thank y'all very much. Yeah, it means a lot.
I sent you a text, Terry.
I'll check it tomorrow.
No, you won't. But check it before you go home.
All right.
Okay. All right. That was absolutely fantastic. So, Pat, do you have any questions for Terry?
You know, I just am looking forward to a great event. I know there's a lot of work to be done. I hope you too. If I can do anything to help, you'll let me know. I'm good at getting in the way, but you know,
No, you'll be put to work. We will have a live Talking Memphis Wrestling during the event sometime, and you and Michael will host it because Terry, I'll be busy.
There you go.
Well, I would tell you, this just opens up a whole new venue for me for learning.
Yeah, you know, can I say one more thing, Randy?
Yeah.
You don't mind?
Oh, no.
You know, it took us 25 years for me to talk you into doing something together. Right, Pat? So it took us 25 years for you and I to come together and do something. I wish to God we could go back and do that over, because we could have killed it if we would have got together and combined. We may still be there, but we didn't. And here's why I'm saying that. There's some really talented young kids that are trying to be in this business right now.
Absolutely.
There's some in Memphis. There's a couple, you know, they're all over West Tennessee. And the young kids that I speak to on today's basis, it just seems like it's just worse, 10 times worse than you and I ever were. We really never fought. We never really crossed. You did your deal. I did my deal. We evolved and grew as we grew. There was really nothing that mattered. I focused on my project. You focused on yours. I put out a plea asking all the promoters of these young kids that are working and trying to be in this business, please work together. We missed out. We screwed ourselves. Don't do the same thing we did, because here's why I'm saying that. For you to bring me on this show 25 years later and even acknowledge the KAW guys and acknowledge the MCW deal that I did is leaps and bounds, speaks for your credibility and your character.
I appreciate
but
that.
In 25 more years, there's a chance you and me won't be here. Those guys will be here. And the only way that there's a future is if you respect your past. The present right now is the future and will someday be the past. So if they don't work together, who's going to keep this project going? Who's going to keep your Hall of Fame that I had no idea what this thing was going to be like? But I mean, I'm overwhelmingly overjoyed. Thank you so much. But I mean, I beg those guys that are in this business now, just to relax. It's okay. If somebody gets one of your guys and they go on to be a great superstar, it's okay. There's a lot of guys that are superstars today that don't call me and send me royalty checks or pat me on the back, send me a birthday card. That's okay. Because I wouldn't have done this if I weren't trying to help them in the past. When I got the MCW deal, I stopped wrestling to focus on helping people be successful. I ask that the young promoters in this business to please just try to work with somebody that you don't think you're friends with, that you don't agree with. If you truly love this business, then do that, because that's what the love of this business is about. And that's it.
Without a doubt, and that's very well said. One thing that I wanted to talk about, the first official developmental was the early days of Power Pro, then OVW, then MCW, and it goes on and on. There was Les Thatcher had a group, and Jody Hamilton, the assassin, had a group, certainly. But they started unofficial developmental, and it was the USWA. And one of the first people, not one of the first person sent down to Memphis from the WWF to work with us, and he is going to be part of your class, a member of the Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame, and that's the Spellbinder. The Spellbinder came, and I think it was the early 90s, probably 92, 93, and then it all evolved. It all evolved without a doubt. As we'll come back to this to wrap it up, and we have to acknowledge right now that we dedicated the show yesterday, and we will dedicate the show today, because the month of July, the 29th, was the day of 2018. The world of life, the world of Memphis wrestling, lost two great people. And Adam, if you can go ahead and show those graphics for me, as we will do that on July the 29th. And I was at the hospital at the Med in Memphis, Tennessee, when Brian Christopher Lawler, who is a 2022 member of the Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame, we lost Brian Christopher, and certainly love Brian. We lost him on the 29th. Terry mentioned the next guy earlier, that in the early days of Kick-Ass Wrestling, KAW, I think it's ironic that on the very same day, on July the 29th of 2018, Brick House Brown, who started wrestling in Texas, wrestled in Memphis starting with the CWA in the 80s, wrestled for the USWA, was a champion, wrestled all over Mid-South Wrestling, wrestled in Power Pro, wrestled in KEW. Brickhouse Brown and Brian Christopher we lost as well. So it's certainly our show today, as this is a hype show, a feel-good show, that sort of thing. But as Terry was saying, we have to remember the ones that came before us, and I think that's certainly what we've done today. So we can get out of those graphics right now, and Adam Dunn is doing a fantastic job. So I don't know, Pat, if you were aware of the fact that yesterday was 6 years to the day that we lost Brian and Brickhouse.
You know, I didn't know it was the same day.
Yes.
I really didn't. But two great talents, and unfortunately, you know, in some respects, this business eats its young. But
we have promotions. AHCW, my friend Mark Manley in Missouri will be there to support, and we appreciate that very much. I mean, we very much appreciate that. Mark James messaged me earlier, and Mark is going to be there, and we're working on vendors and making sure that the wrestling fans, this will be a celebration, a fan fest type of thing. But more than important than that, it's the get together, and you guys can come up and talk to Jimmy Valiant, and you can talk to Izzy, and you can talk to Alcoholic, and you can talk to all these people. You can talk to Derek King, you can talk to Brandon Baxter. I don't know why you would want to, but you can. You can talk to anybody you want to. Jerry Lawler will be there. Bill Dundee will be there. We'll have just the bells and whistles, and it will be just fantastic. The night to remember in Jackson, Tennessee on September 21st. Terry, did you realize that yesterday it was 6 years to the day that we lost Brickhouse and Brian?
Yeah, I did. I saw a lot of that on social media. And, you know, two great talents in this business. Big loss on both of them. And I had a lot of good times at Brickhouse, man. I mean, what do you think God said when Brickhouse walked through the gate and said, "I'm going to slap some slob on you"?
God would say, "You're in the wrong floor, on the wrong floor. You need to go down."
Oh, I'm sure he took good care of Brickhouse.
Oh,
He's probably
yeah.
entertaining right now.
Yeah, absolutely. If Brickhouse is watching this, he just laughed at this.
Right, no doubt.
As a matter of fact, we showed a great interview yesterday. Before we get Terry out, Terry's still at work, and we'll have to be at work early in the morning. We're going to mute the audio because we think we can get in trouble with the copyright of music. But this is what Adam rolled over earlier, and we're going to play the KAW intro. And if your old ass memory is good enough to identify, to smart enough to, like Pat, that's from Alabama and lives in Georgia and all over, not too familiar with some of these guys. As Adam, we roll this video and Terry's microphone will be on.
That's the Fabulous Rocker, which is now known as Chris Rocker. Bull Payne, Todd Morton. I think that was Brickhouse there. Jamie Dundee. That was Weed. About Dr. Bud Ganja is who that was. Dr. Bud Ganja and Izzy High was prominent members of Weed. One of the best workers in the business, I believe, for all time. Motley Cruz. Bull Payne, Danny B. Man, so many guys there. The Littles were in the house.
All right.
Randy, what do you think about the Littles when we had Edie and Biddy Little, and they had a sister named Nita? So
yeah,
how
was
colorful was that?
That was great. And you know, to tell you the truth, I watched a lot of KEW stuff that's up on YouTube, but Jonesboro at the time, Terry, didn't get Channel 30, and I was busy on Saturday mornings.
I understand.
So a lot of stuff's new to me, and you can continue to talk about what we're seeing.
Right.
Hey, Johnny.
It's just, it's wild to look at that. I hadn't seen that video in a long time, to be honest with you. There's just so many guys there. Tasha Simone, one of the great workers. I'm sure she started USWA. Rodeo, I think it was, something like that. You remember,
Yes.
remember Tasha?
Yes.
Yeah, great girl. Just crazy. I mean, that is
a great
mild
montage.
compared to what we really did in some of the stuff.
That's a great montage.
Thank
Terry.
you.
I don't know who did that for you, but that's good stuff.
That was done by the one and only David Jett, one of the best announcers in the business, I believe. I'm a David Jett guy. I love Lance Russell, love Michael St. John, but David Jett was my guy. If it wasn't for David Jett, we'd have never got through this deal because he did all of our editing, all of our production. I mean, he was the workhorse for the TV crew.
We saw the KEW video, and we wanted to show of course, the Power Pro, the very first show in April the 18th of 1998, and on Saturday morning after the USWA, because of some shady dealings, went out of business, and several months later we started Power Pro Wrestling this way.
Tennessee, known worldwide for the beautiful sights of the Mississippi River, for being known as the birthplace of the blues and Beale Street, and for being the home of the king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley. For 50 years, Memphis has been the professional wrestling capital of the world. And now, it's with great pleasure that we welcome you to the very first edition of TV5 Power Pro
Howdy, Dave Brown with Corey Macklin. We are live
Wait
in
for
the
it.
studios at WMC
Wait
TV
for it.
5 with Power Pro Wrestling.
Yay!
Underway.
We saw. See, that's what made this work. KAW with ladders
Great action lined up for
and
Power Pro Wrestling.
all kinds of battles, and Saturday morning wrestling, we have the balloons as we come out of that. So
Different strokes for different folks.
Right. Was that Jimmy Blaylock on the front row?
yes, sir. There's a lot of people that wrestled for you, a lot of people that wrestled for me, and certainly people that probably wrestled for the WWE that was in the front row of that show. And that's what's amazing. And it's just goes back to what you were talking about earlier. It's just so sad that they don't have those opportunities. But everything's different, including the world of television. Now you have streaming that's just so think, Terry, we have people from Canada, we have people from Thailand, we have people from all over the world watching this streaming, and it's just so amazing.
A lot of kick-ass wrestling fans.
Absolutely. I'll give it that. You can dig all you want. That's okay. I'm the host. I'm the professional of the bunch. Y'all are the outlaws. I'm the professional.
The Outlaws and the Powder Puffs.
Yeah, sure. I can come back with that, but no use doing that because somebody will take it serious. Do you think some of these people aren't smart enough? They don't know when somebody's working or shooting. They don't know.
We don't know either.
Randy, I've known you 15 years. I still don't know when you're shooting and working.
Usually when I cuss you out on this show, I'm shooting.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you are.
Sure. Harry, we'll let you get out of here and get to bed. Then Patton and I will take care of business with pictures of the week and different things that we normally do. And we appreciate all the audience. Thank you so much for coming on. Welcome to being one of the newest members of the Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame. Thank you for calling me and giving us the opportunity. I thought I was done with the wrestling business. This has been fine. What's not fine is that you deal with people. Honestly, that's anti me doing something, certainly doing something with you, you know, that sort of thing. The main folks like Lawler and Dundee and Doug and Spell and all those people are thrilled to death. There's people calling people, saying, can you believe that poster? It looks horrible. Can you? And my friend Scott's Art, who's probably watching tonight, did those posters. The first of many to come is fantastic. I mean, it's just fantastic. We both are big boys, and we both know there'll be naysayers for sure. I just feel sorry for people, and especially when it's people that would have given anything to trade places with either one of us. But this is a feel-good thing. This is a thing to bring people together. There's no doubt about that. A thing to bring people together. So I'm really excited. Thank you for coming on tonight, Terry.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all having me. It's an amazing honor to be on your show. It's an amazing honor to be even considered or asked to be in the Hall of Fame. I'm very humbled. I thought you were going to catch a lot of heat for having me on the show, but you're really going to catch a lot of heat now. So I'll probably talk to you in a few days after you cool off. If you want to think your decision, you can, I guess. But
Right after I just asked you, you think I do that?
No, I don't. But I truly am blessed, and thank you all very much. It's been awesome being on your show, and we'll talk soon. Wish you all the best. Thanks to all my guys and friends for tuning in and checking the show out. I got that KAW shirt coming for you. I promise you, man.
All right, my friend.
Thanks, guys.
My honor to meet you.
You too.
Look forward to being with you.
That damn Terry Golden opened up opposition to Power Pro Wrestling. I guarantee you next week he'll do his show at 7:00 next Tuesday night on streaming.
What do you want to bet on that?
Have you got my number? I work pretty cheap.
You can't pay me enough to get back in the business full time. No. Thanks, guys. Appreciate
Thanks,
y'all.
Terry. I
Good night,
appreciate
Terry.
you. And that was great. So here we go. We didn't have Michael St. John. He was going to try to hook up from his phone driving back from Nashville to Huntsville, but wasn't able to do that. This was a breakthrough the last, 15 weeks of looking back at the classic memories of Memphis wrestling. This was basically an interview type of a show. Because I know you don't sugarcoat anything, and you probably didn't have much information going in. So, again, thanks to Scott Art for the great stuff. Scott, we had one guy knock you, but that's okay. People like Brandon Baxter and Pat Trammell and Michael St. John and so many people, and Adam Dunn, unless it was when he was talking to somebody else, loved the work that you did. Just absolutely fantastic. As Scott says, haters are going to hate, and they're going to hate me, and they're going to hate you. And again, the Terry Golden thing is something that maybe get flack in. The dedication, two things that he got at the time to help young people and give an alternative. I respect that. I respect the fact that even though we were on the opposite side of the fence, we survived that with no blow-ups at all. Since then, I didn't say this and meant to, and this is the thing that put me over the top in my decision. Nobody on the face of God's green earth, no man on the face of God's green earth helps out Bill Dundee and cares for Bill Dundee and loves Bill Dundee, and I'm a lover of Bill Dundee, but nobody supports Bill Dundee. And that is a very top reason that we did that. Now, Jeff, the tickets will be available, obviously, at the event if we don't sell out. In the month of August, we will let everybody know there will be a website, there will be an internet ticket type of booth, and it'll be busy. It'll be easy to do, but I'm talking too much. Just talk about whatever you want to talk about, Pat.
Well, I mean, I want to, look, wrestling people, you included, every wrestling guy that I've known, Jerry Jarrett, everybody, are protective of their work and their territory. And, you and Terry competed for eyeballs and butts and seats, for a good while with what looks to me like a very different product. But, I really want to thank you. And I don't think this is going to come every week, but thank you and Terry for pulling this together, because for people like me, and I'm going to speak for most of the people that watch here, this gives us insight we would never have. To have you two on the show talking about, when you competed, what you did, what he did, that's part of the history. That's part of the story. And that's stuff that smucks like me that are sitting in the fifth row, we never know anything about. And it's, and I say it all the time, and I know I sound like a fifth grade history teacher, which is all I really wanted to ever do. But telling the story and the history of wrestling, particularly today, of territory wrestling and specifically Memphis wrestling, in all its forms, in all its iterations, is so important. And I can't wait till we get a physical Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame where we can tell this story for the next 15 generations. But what you guys are doing here is so important.
Adam, I know you're in a situation you can't come on camera, but this has been the most unique show that we've ever done. So I want you to come on audio-wise, because obviously you knew on paper what this show was going to be. You knew the scoop that I was going to drop. Didn't know it till about 5 minutes before we went on the air, because I've been pretty protective of information that we're dropping, because I knew from day one I wanted to do this. So Adam, just your thought about a very unique and unusual, and what I think a very exciting talk in Memphis wrestling.
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said there. It was very unique and unusual, but I think in the best way possible. And like Terry said multiple times, who would have thought, who would have guessed 25 years later, right? And to have Terry on here and to not only be a guest, but for you to be working with him, to make this announcement here tonight, and then to top it all off there, was really able to capture Terry's emotion as he found out that he was going to be put into the Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame. I think it was clearly an honor for him and came way out of left field.
Adam,
Yeah,
go
I
ahead
agree.
when you're still on here, because Christopher is asking when is the event and where. Can you go ahead and pop that on there? It's a night to remember. It's in Jackson, Tennessee, and make sure you put down on September the 21st, night to remember, at the Picture Perfect Event Center in Jackson, Tennessee, about an hour 10 minutes away from Memphis, Tennessee. A night to remember at the Picture Perfect Event Center. A Jerry Lawler, Bill Dundee tribute, rivalry for the ages, and a night to remember. Adam, what are you most looking forward to about this event? I'm sure it's production related.
Well, just looking forward to any time that we can have and do a Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame and be able to get people in. That's really the biggest thing that I'm excited about, and I'm excited to see anything revolving around Memphis wrestling from a time that was really my heyday of it was Power Pro, KAW, and MCW. So this is really something big for me. And just look at a lot of the guys that are going to be there that really aren't around a whole lot anymore. I mean, the fact that you can go and see Spellbinder and Moe's going to be there and people like that, I'm just really excited. And as Terry said before, having the King and the Superstar together and really paying tribute to their history together in the business, I'm looking forward to all of that.
Tell our friends of Team Hales, Adam, that, and you have a slide for that, a Hall of Fame slide, that we want to talk about, and it was presented on March the 5th at the Memphis Wrestling First Class of the Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame. It was on March the 5th on the television show we announced the first member of the Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame. Go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, on the TV before the very first induction ceremony that was held at the Memphis Mid-South Coliseum, the King, Jerry Lawler, was being interviewed by Lance Russell, and the very first inductee of the Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame class of 1994 was Sam Bass. The graphic was made and added to the website in December 2022 as we paid tribute and inducted several people in 2022 that had passed away. But Sam Bass was the first official inductee inducted by Jerry the King Lawler in 1994.
We've sold one ticket as Bo James' nephew Waylon is coming. With Bo, can't wait to see that. If you can show the next picture, it's Lawler together with Sam Bass. What is significant about this picture, it was in July, and it was July 25th at the Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis, Tennessee. It was a Southern Heavyweight Championship main event with Sam Bass in the corner for Jerry Lawler as Lawler defended the Southern title against Harley Race, several times former NWA World Champion. Later in the night, in the wee early hours of the morning on July the 26th, Sam and the Dominoes, which were Frank Hester and Pepe Lopez, and we have a picture of those as well. Adam, if we could go to that picture, if you can find it. And Scott's Art, I agree with you 100%, as this is the newspaper article of the same that we were talking about, and Adam did not put in the picture that I had called for because I don't have it up there. That's my bad. We have that picture of the newspaper article that night. Sam, Pat, we'll go with you. A horrifying night, certainly, for sure, with losing Sam Bass. Full
You
screen,
know,
Pat Trammell.
well, I've heard, I've heard you talk about that night. I've heard Jerry talk about that on a podcast. I visited with Jerry Jarrett about it when he was still alive. I remember when I was young that being announced on TV wrestling in Birmingham by Starling Brewer. And it was an odd thing because Sam was such a heel and I was such a young kid. But that's one of those things that I'm not sure everybody everybody involved ever really got over to some extent.
Very sad situation. The following Saturday on Channel 13 Wrestling, Lance Russell opened the show by himself, real somber, and he said, Sam Bass used to come up to me every Saturday morning and say, Lancer, ring the bell. It's time to separate the men from the boys. We want to show I found in my pictures, and we want to show the picture of that night, early morning, in the wee hours, at mile marker 167, 169 of Interstate 40, headed eastbound toward Nashville after that night of matches headlined by Jerry Lawler with Sam Bass against Harley Race. We lost Sam Bass, the Dominoes, Frank Hester on the top, and Pepe Lopez. Sad picture, Pat.
Yeah, very sad. Very sad.
All right. Go back to the pictures. We'll do some pictures of the day. And this is a drawing, Adam, of Bob Armstrong. And it's labeled Bob Armstrong. And this is a fantastic drawing, Pat, from Jerry the King Lawler. What do you think about this tremendous artwork and this tremendous deal?
I'll tell you what, there's nobody that can caricature like the King. When was that written? When was that drawn? Do you know?
I think about 1975. I'm just guessing.
Okay.
I'm just guessing. For sure. One other quick plug that I want to give is that this coming Saturday night, and I think it's Saturday, and I can't tell you the matches. And don't worry, Pat, we're about to cut this. We're about to fall asleep on me. A picture of the SummerSlam card because there will be a Randy Hales show Saturday night immediately. It's Saturday, August the 3rd, and Solo and Cody Rhodes. It's very interesting because we also have Logan Paul against LA Knight for a championship. We just have a tremendous, tremendous night, and rumors out there. Will Roman Reigns return? Will Paul E return? Certainly. I don't know anything. I'm just saying what the people on the dirt sheets are saying. But about 5 minutes after this show is over, SummerSlam from Cleveland will be on. Sometimes if Pat can stay up, he has a hard enough time staying up to 9 o'clock, but hopefully Pat sometimes watches the show. Pat, SummerSlam is coming.
All right. All right. That's a Saturday night. I'll be up.
All right. Dave's channel says that picture of Bob Armstrong, and PJ says if we can get that up there again of Bob Armstrong, as PJ says, the arms. So what a name, Bob Armstrong. Name, Robert James. Name, of course, is wrestling-wise we know and love as Bob Armstrong. Dave's channels says, and I love this, he says, Popeye forearms. and that's exactly what he says, and that's a great deal. I want to thank everybody. I want to thank Adam Dunn. I want to especially thank my buddy. Hell froze over. My buddy Kerry Golden, people. Great thing. Great thing. There's no doubt about it. And I want to thank you, Pat. And I'm sorry that Michael, on a day that I was going to make a big deal, and we have plenty of weeks to do it, of him being in the Hall of Fame. And we've already talked about it on this program, but that was months ago that I said the next time I'm going to do something. And certainly now it's official. And you didn't know, because I just thought of it. No, it's on my notes, as a matter of fact. You might have saw it on the notes. Or no, it's handwritten. I don't think I've typed it in. As you as one of the, you're the only inductor for Michael that I have so far, and we'll see who else is there, but you fit the deal, and I certainly want you a part of the show.
Well, I'd be honored. I'd be honored.
Any last final word? Did I even give you the opportunity to do a first take?
You did, but I was late, and it was fine. And I don't think any first take I had could have added anything to this show. This has been probably the most unique show we've ever done, and in my mind, one of the more valuable ones. And I tell you what, I'm excited about this event. I'm excited about, learning more about KAW and, just being with a lot of our fans, friends that can come and be with us, and, just having a good time together.
Is Wyatt your son and your buddy, your other son, are they going to come to this event with you?
I'm sure they absolutely will be at that event. Wyatt and Daquan?
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That will be fantastic. You need a driver. I worry about your driving, man.
Well, you've driven more than me, but there's not a lot of people driven more than me.
Dave Channel loved the show. Thomas says he loves us, and we love him too, and we loved everybody that was a part of the show. And we're not, lately we've been going over 30 minutes or so again, and we had more video than I had on the screen as we added stuff, but I really enjoyed the show, Pat.
I did too. It's a historic night.
Appreciate Randy West watching. Appreciate everything. He might be up in bed. Randy Dandy, wake up. Are you still around? We're going into, because I've been saying this, we are rounding third. We're headed home, Pat.
And he's out.
No. Holy cow. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Talking Memphis Wrestling with Randy Hales and special guests.